Welcome to the Courtroom Chronicles. This channel is dedicated to educational content based on real-life cases and true events. This content shared here is drawn directly from the actual case file, and no names, places, or items have been changed. However, the content has been carefully summarized and presented for educational purposes in a comprehension format to inform, enlighten, and spark meaningful discussions. Whether you're here to learn, reflect, or simply understand the real-world scenarios better, you're in the right place. We believe in the power of truthful storytelling to educate and inspire. Disclaimer: while all stories are based on real cases, they are presented in a condensed and structured format for clarity and learning. Viewer discretion is advised where necessary. This case is cited from the Nigerian High Court online file, which is public record. This is a case between Bankola Fatorisa and 4 others. Visas Olumwa Ayodele Fatorisa and 2 others. Court, High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyanya Division. Date of judgment, February 16, 2021. Presiding Judge, Honor Justice U.P. Kekameke. Facts and background. The case revolves around a disputed contract of sale involving the property at Block 7, Flat 3, Basita Close, Area 2, Garki, Abuja. The third defendant, Mrs. Elizabeth Eshanomi, counterclaimant, alleged that she entered into a valid contract with the first defendant, Olumuyiwa Ayodele Fatorisa, to purchase the aforementioned property for gross $15.5 million. She had already paid a total of $11.8 million, supported by written acknowledgments and an indemnity authorizing her to obtain the Certificate of Occupancy, C of O, from the second defendant, ASO Savings and Loans plc, who had financed the original mortgage. The claimants and first defendant failed to file a defense or respond to the counterclaim, despite having earlier raised a challenge to ownership. The claimants had initially instituted the case, but later withdrew it, and it was struck out. The third defendant, counterclaimant, thus proceeded with her counterclaim to affirm the contract of sale and obtain possession of the property. Judgment summary. Justice Kekameke, after analyzing the uncontroverted evidence and exhibits tendered by the third defendant, including irrevocable letter of transaction, Exhibit A, payment acknowledgement of $11.8 million, Exhibit B, indemnity for release of documents, Exhibit F, letter of offer and expression of interest form from the Ad Hoc Committee for Sale of Government Houses, Exhibit CE, held that there existed a valid and binding contract between the first defendant and the third defendant for the sale of the property. The third defendant had paid the majority of the agreed price and was entitled to the balance of transaction documentation, including the Certificate of Occupancy. She was also entitled to immediate possession of the property. However, the claims for rent, scale $150,000 per month from October 2015, were denied as no evidence of arrears or rental agreement was presented. The prayer for perpetual injunction was also denied as speculative. Who won the case and why? Winner, the third defendant, counterclaimant, Mrs. Elizabeth Eshanomi. Losers, the claimants, first defendant, Olumuyiwa Fatorisa, and second defendant, ASO Savings. Reasons: the third defendant presented credible, uncontroverted evidence, including receipts, contractual documents, and witness testimony. Neither the claimants nor the defendants challenged her evidence through cross-examination or rebuttal. The court applied contract principles: offer, acceptance, consideration, and intention to create legal relations were clearly satisfied. The failure of the first defendant to fulfill his obligations, despite benefiting from the funds, was deemed unconscionable and legally untenable. Legal analysis: how this could have been avoided. Written agreement. While there were handwritten acknowledgments, a formally executed contract of sale with legal descriptions, terms, and obligations would have precluded ambiguity and litigation. Title verification prior to payment. The buyer proceeded to make substantial payments before securing full and unequivocal title from ASO Savings and Loans. A conditional agreement or escrow arrangement might have mitigated risk. Disclosure of disputes. The first defendant failed to disclose the ongoing dispute with the claimants over the property. Legal due diligence, including court searches or declarations of non-contention, would have revealed this risk. Involvement of a real estate lawyer. Throughout, if a solicitor had been engaged for full end-to-end transaction oversight, including lodgement of ownership documents and negotiation of handover timelines, the matter would likely not have reached court. Failure to defend. The claimants and defendants' failure to respond or defend themselves was fatal. Even if they had a plausible claim, their inaction led to an automatic loss. Active litigation management and response are critical. This case offers vital lessons on real estate transactions, particularly on the enforceability of oral contracts supported by documentary evidence, the importance of full legal and factual disclosure, and the risks of informal agreements in high-value property deals. Thanks so much for watching, fam. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and let me know what you think about the case. I love hearing your thoughts and feedback. And hey, if you felt a connection or learned something new, give this video a like and share it with someone who might enjoy it too. Until next time, stay safe, stay real, and I'll catch you in the next one.